Gracie. I'm going to begin the second YouTube lesson from Footprints Without Feet. A Triumph of Surgery, written by James Herriot. James Herriot is a veterinary doctor. Veterinary means the doctor, one who treats animals. A triumph of surgery. Triumph means victory and surgery means a clinic or a place, a house where a veterinary doctor practices treating animals. In this lesson, we see two dominating characters. One is of Mrs. Pomfrey and the dog, and Dr. Mr. Herriot. One day, Mr. Herriot was passing by and he sees the dog, and he was a bit shocked looking at the sight of the dog, Tricky, because Tricky was overfed by his mistress, Mrs. Pomfrey. Mrs. Pomfrey was a very rich lady. She overfed the dog. She gave him too much to eat. As a consequence, dog felt very sick. Dog was unable to move. He was bloated like a sausage and his eyes were like a bloodshot. One fine day, Mrs. Pomfrey calls Dr. James Herriot to his clinic and tells, "My Tricky is not well. Please do something about Tricky." And Mr. Herriot comes down to her house and takes Tricky to his clinic. While he was taking Tricky, so many things of Tricky were dumped in the car. It was like his day bed, such as night bed, his bowls, afternoon bowls, during the night bowls, or all sorts of things. And season wise, he had winter coat, summer coat, different things that he had of Mrs. Pomfrey. Mrs. Pomfrey feels very sad because Tricky was not well. She treated him just like a child and she gave him too much, and Tricky also never said no to Mrs. Pomfrey. He went on eating too much and finally he was sick. While he was taking Tricky, he took Tricky and Mrs. Pomfrey, while Tricky was taken away from her, she starts crying, and along with her, her servants also starts crying. And Dr. Herriot took him to his clinic and he keeps him for 2 days under observation without giving him any food. He just gives him plenty of water. And on the first day, Tricky did not make any movement. He was just sleeping and sleeping. Other dogs came and sniffed him, but he did not show any interest in playing or moving around. And other dogs thought he is not wanting to play along with them. He is not active at all, and they left him and went away. And the third day, Tricky himself got up. He was maybe rather feeling hungry. He went and sniffed at the bowls that were already eaten by the dogs. He goes there and licks the bowls that were kept. And from far away, Dr. Herriot sees Tricky, and the second day he keeps one extra bowl for Tricky and puts some food in it. He told the servant to keep some extra bowl. And the third day, Tricky also makes moves along with the other dogs. He goes and eats there with the other dogs. All were running as well, as Tricky also made some movement running. And he eats the food and he starts playing with the other dogs. And Mrs. Pomfrey was restless. Every now and then she wanted the latest bulletin news, latest information about Tricky. How is he, whether his bed is changed and his cushion is changed. All that she went on asking Mr. James Herriot. And James Herriot tells that dog Tricky is convulsing, getting all right. That convulsing word meaning is getting all right, getting better. So she thought it is something doing with the malnutrition. She thinks Tricky is again suffering with some malnutrition, and so she sends some food, extra food, just like 2 dozen eggs at a time, then wine, and then even she started to send brandy, so that she thought Tricky will get very quickly all right. So these food like brandy or 2 dozen eggs or wine all were enjoyed by Dr. Harriet and his friend. And later, uh, after a fortnight, that is after 15 days, Dr. Harriet calls to Mrs. Pomfrey. Tricky is all right. You can come and fetch him or come and collect him from my clinic. As Mrs. Pomfrey comes very happily to take Tricky, and as soon as Tricky sees Mrs. Pomfrey, he jumps into the car and sits on her lap, and she grabs him and she thinks it is a triumph of surgery, meaning is the surgery is being conducted, and that's what Tricky was all right soon. I will give you few questions. This is the summary of this lesson. I'll give you some of the important questions. It may help you for your exams. The first one is, what was Mr. Harriet's strict advice? What advice did Mr. Harriet give? That was, he told her that go under strict diet so that he gets cured very fast. And the second question is, did Mrs. Pomfrey pay heed to his advice? Not at all. She was every time she was pampering him too much. She gave him extra meals in between meals, all that made him sick. The third question is, what excuses did she make? She made saying that I thought he is not all right, and I thought he is suffering from malnutrition, he was weak, all sorts of things that she tells in order to excuse herself. The next question is, how did Tricky become an accepted member of the gang? Later on, when Tricky started to move, his body became a little bit exercised and he became slim, and he started to play with the other dogs. He started to enjoy too much with the gang of the dogs in his campus. And he started to play with a ball. Somebody was throwing ball for him, and then he was going to fetch, and a lot of exercise were done to make Tricky slim, means bring him to normal health. So this is the end of this lesson. I hope you understood this lesson. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.